Hi, so I thought I would make a video just going through how to make your own Hollow Knight custom knights in case you want to do it. It is a big time commitment, but if you want to do it, you should give it a go because it is fun to do. But yeah, there's three main things you'll be needing to download. The first one is CustomKnight Creator. The second one would be FireAlpaca, but you can use any drawing application you like. That's the one that I use. And you need the Hollow Knight sprites to start with. And all of those will be linked below so you can get them all easy. Okay, so as far as GitHub, which confuses me most of the time, what you want to do is click on the link, then you'll get a page that looks like this. You just want to go over to releases where it says the version, the current version. Click on that, and then you just want to choose whatever version you're using for the system. I usually use the Windows version. If you have a Mac, use the Mac version. I'm not sure how many differences there are as far as the Mac version. I'll mainly be able to answer questions about the Windows version because that's what I use. But that's how you download that one. And it's just a thing of once you download it, you launch the zip file because the zip file will have an exe in it. You just launch that, install it, and then open the program itself. For the sprites, you'll get to this page. There'll be sprites in SpritePacker. I just go into sprites and then go into sprites again, and that will show you pretty much all the different sprite sheets that you can use. So like the one-off time you talk to Quirrell, or all of your spell animations, or all the spider cutscene when you get trapped in the spider den. The one that's 90% of what you're going to be doing is the knight. So all you need to do is go down to the little drop-down menu and go download, and then it will download it as a zip file. You just unzip that file, and then you'll be able to use it in CustomKnight. FireAlpaca, probably the easiest one of all. You just press the download button and download FireAlpaca. Another thing you'll want to do is make your CustomKnight folder for the actual game easily accessible. This is where you would find it normally if you have to go through everything. You go into the drive where you have Hollow Knight installed, then Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, Hollow Knight Data, Managed, Mods, CustomKnight, then Skins. And it will have a list of all the skins that you currently have installed. One that's always going to be there that's very useful is default. Because if you go into the default, it just shows you what all of them are meant to be named, because they won't be named what they need to be named to be put into the game. So for example, like if you do the hood, usually when you export the hood from CustomKnight, it will be called hood clean, and then it won't work in the game. You need to have it named HUD, exactly like this. Same with anything. Knight's usually the exact same as when it's exported, but half of them aren't. Like this one is usually called Orbit Shield or something like that, and you want to replace it and make it Shield instead. This is mainly important for if you're doing things other than the basic knight. The basic knight should be named correctly. Like all the spells will have different names when they're exported, and you will need to rename them all. And it also gives you an idea of what extra sprites you might want to do and what ones you won't care about. So like wings you might not care about doing just because this is only for that one time where you actually receive the wings, so it doesn't matter too much. But you can choose to do basically anything that involves the knight, any spells, the fluke, anything like that. But yeah, I guess once you find your skins, usually I would go back to the mods folder just up here, and then like right click CustomKnight, and then either create a shortcut, pin it to your task if you want. I have mine in the little Windows thing, like if you go into here, and then you'd be able to scroll down, and then I have it right there, because that's easiest for me. The CustomKnight Creator, so when you first open it, it'll look kind of like this, or, you know, smaller like this. And yeah, basically you want to go to add here, then you want to find the sprites that you've downloaded. Usually you just want to start with the knight sprite. It's just all of the basic sprites that you want to go through. It doesn't include some of the one-off events, so like the Hornet Blizzard event, or when you're in the Abyss and you talk to the king, it doesn't include all of that. That'd be a different sprite sheet, but it includes like 99% of everything. It's what everyone uses. Then you want to load categories, which just shows all the different things that it includes. So the regular knight, it has a few spell effects, which you can leave on. The Dream Gate is good to keep on as well. The slug is just for if you want to do Shape of Un sprites, which I usually don't, so you can disable that if you want to. It doesn't make much of a difference. Then you load animations, and bam! It will show you all of the sprites here, or all the folders. These are all the folders, specifically. And then you can play the animation, so you can see what it looks like. And yeah, each animation has like a amount of sprites. One thing that's good is we have these duplicate groups. So yeah, anytime you do a sprite, so let's say, I think Slash has it. So Slash, say like these two sprites right here, they both have 155, 155, which means they're the exact same sprite. There's nothing different about them with those last two numbers. So you'd go view duplicates, and then it will show you all the duplicates for those two, and you can just select the top one as the main copy so that it will replace all of the bottom ones. So every time you go through a folder and you've drawn through them all, the two things to make sure of is that you don't have the exact same number here, because if they have like 155, 155, it's the same sprite. You'll just be drawing an extra sprite for no reason. Same with these, 156. So the Slash effect, see how they're all the same sprite? So you don't want to draw that 14 times and then realize you didn't have to. So definitely make sure of that before you do them. Just grab the ones that have different numbers. You got to select where you want to output all of these to. So just make a folder specifically called like sprite output, so that it can put all of the sprite sheets into there. And packing it will just make it into a sprite sheet for you that you can then put into Hollow Knight. You want to do that pretty often, just so you can like check everything's okay and look at your sprites now and then. It also helps just looking at the sprite sheet and knowing that you're getting stuff done and watching it change over time. It's a little bit of a motivator because it is a lot to get through. Another thing is any of these that have the red outline around them, leave the outline 100%, because you don't want to even get it slightly erased when you're getting rid of the old sprite and putting your sprite on top, because then that hitbox will show in game, because it needs to be perfectly 255 red. So if you slightly erase it accidentally, it will show up in game and you'll have to come back in and put the box back to how it should be. And if you completely remove the box, I don't know whether your sprite sheet will work. I'm pretty sure they need to be there so that it knows where to put it in the actual sheet. So make sure you leave those alone. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything to do with CustomKnight. But yeah, the main things to remember, you want to get your knights, you want to get your knight folder specifically, and you want to make sure it has the atlases as the next folder inside to make sure you're getting the right one. Because otherwise you'll get an error. If you get the error, then you need to put what it's trying to find in that location. So if you accidentally put it, if say I selected Knight's Lydia, I would then need to move all of this knight file into there so that it can find what it's trying to find. And yeah, you just go through down the folders one by one. Usually the way I like doing it is I do anything that's a normal sprite first, and then I will come back to do slash effects and slash effects, the wing jumps, and any of the scream type things. I'll always do those later. The next thing would be FireAlpaca, of which basically it's just your average drawing program. It has everything you need. What I've got on screen at the moment is just a sprite that I've made from Vessel Maker by Pick Crew, which I will probably link below as well. But it just helps if you don't know what you want your sprite to look like, or you're not really sure about the ideas and you want to test them out first and get a rough outline. So I guess you'd go to open, find your sprites folder, find the animation you want, so idle. Then you want to select the first one, you go file, open as a new layer, and then you want to select all of the ones that you want to draw. So for idle, it's all of them. If it does have hitboxes, you can use the selecty tool to make sure you don't hit the hitboxes. I always suggest a drawing tablet. It'll make your life so much easier if you have one. If you don't, that's okay. Typically, I mean, people end up using a whole bunch of different brushes. Use whatever you're comfortable with. Airbrush is really good for when you're doing the shades. Some people use airbrush for outline. I usually just use the pen, and I use the 3 pinpoint. Some of the dreamer animations you'll notice have a thicker outline, in which case I just use 4. But yeah, just to go through it a little bit, and always add layers. You always want to add layers to your things. It just makes life easier. But yeah, you want to zoom in as much as possible without losing the image. And then yeah, you compare it to the image that you want to do. So we have the 2 spiky little horns, we have different angular eyes. I'll just like speed through it. So yeah, usually I'll have this sort of thing where I've turned down the opacity to around 70% so I can still see the old model, but have my one imposed on top. I'll do the outline of things that I want to change, but leave the outline for things that are already in place, and it's fine. Next thing would be getting the eraser and getting rid of all the things from the original model that you just don't want to be there. You can draw from scratch, it's just a lot easier to not do that to yourself, especially when you're doing things for the first time. The next thing would be getting the white, filling in if you change the horn shape at all. Want to make sure that you don't have any little black bits in there. And you can also go view and then dark checkered pattern to make sure that you didn't miss any patches. Then yeah, we've changed the eyes, so you want to get rid of that. And then you get into the coloring in, which I still like to keep the opacity low for this. So you select colors. For this one, I'll just use the same that I had in the example there. Always look in the little preview finder. I usually like to keep it so that, well, I guess it would be different for different size screens, but typically the way I like to have it is so that you could fit 4 layers in here and the sprite will be around that size, because that kind of gives a good idea of what it will be roughly like in game size. And it's always good to have 4 of these available, because when you start doing animations, you'll typically end up having at least 2 layers per sprite, because one is going to be your new outline, one's the bottom layer, which you put all the colors onto and was the old Hollow Knight sprite. You can merge them together. I usually keep them separate just in case I need to come back later and change them. But yeah, that's how you do that. And then you want to go File, Export. You want to make sure that it's translucent PNG. By default, it'll be on 24-bit PNG, which is dumb because it just puts a white background on all of your sprites, which isn't what a PNG is. That's not what you want. And then you save it and you make sure it overwrites the copy of what you wanted. So if you're doing the Knight idle sprite 100, then you want to make sure that you export it and replace that file. And then when you replace it, Knight Creator, it's now there. All the other ones will be the same because I haven't changed all of them, obviously. But yeah, then you can go view animation duplicates and you can see how they're all in the red. That means that like this idle sprite is the same as a wake up ground sprite at that certain phase. So you want to auto replace all of them, because then you don't have to draw it all of these extra times. You just go select it as the main copy. Next thing to run through would be if you want to do your hood and spells, it's pretty much the same process. You would just click on that, you would go remove, and then load, so that way it empties everything out. Don't have to worry about that guy just standing there, he just chilling. And then you add. A lot of the other sprites, when you download them, they'll look like this. You always want to make sure it's the one that says anim. So like, say this one, how it has a bunch of numbers, you want to click on it, and then the one inside will be the anim. Same with this one. You just want to make sure it's always anim, because if you click the one outside of it, once again, it will do that thing where it's like, hey, I can't find what I'm trying to find, because it won't be able to read a folder in a folder. It just wants to go straight to the source, so you want to make sure it's always written correctly. This one, select, load, and then, yeah, you have all your sprites for whatever various thing you're doing. But yeah, remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and best of luck with your night creating. It does require quite a bit of patience, so just take it a little bit at a time. You don't have to rush anything, just take it one little bit at a time. But yeah, I'll try and answer any questions that anyone has in the comments if there are any questions. But yeah, see you next time.